Mail-in absentee ballots are a method of voting that dates back to the late 19th century.
Ever since the pandemic, this form of voting has surged. I talked with the Secretary of State on tips to keep in mind for a smooth absentee voting process. More than 70,000 Mainers have already requested an absentee ballot for this election. Under Maine law, ballots must be made available to any eligible voter no later than 30 days prior to Election Day.
Any Maine voter who is seeking to get their ballot ahead of time and cast their ballot by mail can do so by reaching out to their clerk, signing up for an absentee ballot on our absentee ballot request service online. And those ballots will start going out very shortly. Every voter can start voting no later than October 7th.
Here's some important tips to keep in mind.
When you receive that ballot, you will also receive an absentee ballot return envelope. And that envelope ties that ballot to your request.
It's important for the voter to complete the ballot, place it in that absentee ballot envelope, and seal and sign the envelope.
The envelope and the information on the envelope is what the clerk does to track the ballots against the requests that have been made by legitimate voters. It's our safeguard against fraud.
Maine also has an absentee ballot tracking system. The voter can stay up to date on their ballot status, and if any issue comes up, you can contact your local clerk to fix the problem. The deadline to request an absentee ballot or vote in the presence of a clerk is 5 p.m. on the Thursday prior to the election. To be counted, voted absentee ballots must be received by the municipal clerk by 8 p.m. on Election Day.